On the 10th of August, 2025, Guangdong was hit by a historic downpour, with total rainfall reaching 622.6 millimeters in just a few hours. To put that into perspective, the average rainfall for the entire month of August in this region is usually only around 250 millimeters. That means this storm dumped nearly 3 times the normal monthly amount, all in a single day.
冲刺我呀！做八卦已经冲刺我不中啊！你看这我八卦已经不行了。喂，冲刺我呀！
哎，那人，不要伞了。
This furious deluge swallowed thousands of homes, destroyed roads and bridges, and swept away crops over tens of thousands of hectares. Tens of thousands of residents were forced to flee in the middle of the night. At least 7 people lost their lives, and hundreds more were injured. Towns that were once bustling with life have now vanished beneath a vast, endless expanse of water, filled with desperate cries for help and the roar of rescue boats. Pingtu, a quiet rural village in Guangdong, was suddenly transformed into a lake. The water rose so quickly that within minutes, floors were submerged past the knees, then up to the waist, then over a meter deep. Residents scrambled to grab a few clothes, their ID papers, and whatever valuables they could carry, rushing out in search of safety. The flood invaded every alley, sweeping away motorbikes, refrigerators, tables, chairs, and the homes families had spent their entire lives building.
这要是堵了车不毁啦？
毁了。
要堵了车不得往上？
What angered people most was the claim that there had been no warning at all. No sirens, no emergency text alerts, no official notice about dam releases or the danger of rapidly rising water. An 83-year-old man from Pingtu, speaking through tears, said, "I've lived here my entire life, over a century, and I've never seen a flood like this. But at least in the past, we knew to prepare. This time, we didn't." The disaster did not end in Pingtu. Guangzhou City and many nearby areas were also hit hard. In Qingyuan, drone footage showed dozens of homes completely collapsed, with corrugated metal roofs, bricks, and furniture floating in murky floodwaters. People navigated the drowned streets in makeshift boats built from plastic barrels and foam boards, trying to reach safety through what were once busy neighborhoods, now turned into canals. The rain brought more than just flooding. It unleashed an invisible enemy: disease. Stagnant water became a breeding ground for mosquitoes, sending chikungunya cases skyrocketing. In Guangdong alone, more than 7,000 infections have been reported, mostly in the city of Foshan. Hospitals, already stretched thin treating flood victims, were forced to divide their resources to combat the outbreak. Many survivors found themselves not only homeless, but also bedridden with fever, joint pain, and exhaustion. Meanwhile, transportation ground to a halt. Multiple bridges were damaged, rail lines disrupted, and Guangzhou's international airport was forced to cancel dozens of flights after floodwaters reached key infrastructure. Cargo was stuck at ports, supply chains were paralyzed, and thousands of businesses faced crippling setbacks. Wholesale markets saw shortages, and prices for fresh food skyrocketed. In response, the central government announced more than 5.8 billion yuan in disaster relief for affected regions, with an additional 430 million yuan specifically for Guangdong and nearby provinces. Convoys carrying rice, noodles, blankets, and clean water began arriving, but this massive figure still wasn't enough or fast enough. Many communities, especially those deep in isolated flood zones, reported they had yet to see any assistance at all. One resident said, "We haven't seen a single bottle of water or a box of food from the authorities. We're surviving only because we help each other." On Chinese social media, countless residents of Guangdong have posted videos showing floodwaters sweeping through their homes, streets, and farmland. Desperate calls for help aimed not only at the government, but also at the online community, hoping that someone, somewhere, will come to their aid. The economic losses caused by this flood are almost impossible to measure. Thousands of hectares of rice paddies and farmland have been destroyed, wiping out the harvest entirely. Many farming families, who had only just begun to recover from a severe drought earlier this year, are now sinking deeper into debt. Experts warn that it could take Guangdong months, if not years, to restore production and return life to normal. What's most alarming is that this isn't an isolated event. Meteorologists confirm that climate change is making storms more extreme, with massive amounts of rain falling in short bursts, triggering flash floods and severe inundation. Without a comprehensive disaster response plan and an effective early warning system, disasters like this will continue to strike, perhaps with even greater force. Yet, amid the vast sea of water and piles of debris, there are still stories of courage and solidarity. Young men in Pingtou used small boats to rescue the elderly and children trapped by the rising waters. In Guangzhou, a group of volunteers pooled their resources to buy hundreds of boxes of instant noodles and clean water, braving dangerous conditions to deliver them into the heart of the flood zone. These acts of bravery have given many families a renewed sense of hope, helping them survive and begin to rebuild after the disaster. The August 2025 floods in Guangdong are a stark warning of nature's power and humanity's fragility in the face of climate change. We can't stop the rain from falling, but we can prepare so we're not swept away. What's needed most right now isn't just figures on paper or promises of aid, it's a comprehensive strategy to protect the lives and livelihoods of millions. If you're watching this video, please share it so the story of Guangdong reaches far and wide, so help can find its way to those who need it most. And so we all remember that in the fight against natural disasters, we can't afford to wait. We must act starting now.